Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and technically it's a 2v1. We catch up with live Huntsville and Huntsville City FC. Director of Soccer Operations, Liam Doyle. Managing Director of Business Ops, Chad Emerson. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on for a 2v1 and an odd man rush.
Looks like we got you outnumbered today, don't we?
Well, you guys are the ones that have all the information, so that's why we're bringing you in. So, all right, since there's two of you and one of me, I've got a number between 1 and 20 in my head. Chad, give me a number.
12.
Liam, give me a number.
8.
Liam, since we are doing Price is Right rules, he won. The number's 11. Chad went over. And so that means that Liam has the choice of answering first or having Chad answer first. Liam, your choice.
I'll go first.
All right. So when you look back at the season for HCFC, what immediately comes to mind and what you guys were able to accomplish on the field and off?
I think history comes to mind, straight out of the gate in terms of getting the first players, so many first, I think, to look back and, be proud of what we did to get the club up and running and the legacy we've already left in terms of the flag bearer for MLS Next Pro, and this is how you do it. And, on and off the field, I think there's a lot to be proud of and a lot we can take into 24 to improve as well, especially on the field. So,
Chad, what was it like for you in the community to see everyone embrace what was going on at Joe Davis and be a part of everything there at MLS Next Pro?
Yeah, Huntsville, we had high expectations, and Huntsville exceeded those. I mean, it was just, you never know. You take an old minor league baseball stadium and renovate it into one of the premier minor league soccer venues. You create a great team, a great brand, but you still need the guests. You still need the fans and the supporters. And they showed up in droves and led every attendance category there is in Major League Next Pro Soccer. So that's an encouraging start.
So, Liam, when you look at how things were on the field and, there are different philosophies and how franchises want to do things in MLS Next Pro. And it was done differently in Huntsville, bringing in some experienced players and seeing it build that way. From an on-the-field perspective with what Jack was doing as head coach, what are some of your takeaways about this different approach that you guys had there in Huntsville?
Yeah, as you said, it's definitely a unique approach. No one else is doing what we're doing. I think we found some things worked really well and some things that we'll look to adapt and adjust in 2024. I think that 90 minutes to Nashville isn't far, and I think on a day-to-day basis, it's maybe further than it seems in terms of player movement. So we'll definitely look to next year to even enhance player movement, have more of it on all sides, and that'll make our team stronger on the field in Huntsville for sure.
So I'll bookmark that and come back because there were some announcements in 24 today. Chad, when you look at things from the business perspective, what was the biggest lesson that you might have learned about year one of this soccer program? What was the biggest lesson you think you take away from it?
Yeah, I think it's creating an incredible guest experience, which is largely the soccer match, but everything that goes with it, the walkout experience, the halftime experience. Our players were incredible about engaging the fans after a match, win, lose, or penalty kicks. And so I think really creating, Liam and Jack do a great job with the players on the field during the match, but also having great players and great coaches that advocate and engage with the fans before, after, and throughout the week.
So then, Liam, follow-up along those same lines. The biggest lesson that you learned from a soccer operations standpoint about being an MLS Next Pro, being a first-year franchise, what were those lessons that you can take with you coming in here to 24?
Yeah, I think I'll be open and honest. I had a lot of my career in the USL, and I think that the league was stronger than we thought. And, I believe we had a strong squad too, but I think for next year as well, it's about, loading that even more and taking the league head on and hopefully making the playoffs and maybe even hosting a home you've seen in the MLS even Conference Cup final last week, there was MLS Next Pro exposure there, and not only just in the squad, actually on the field starting. So I think, it's a positive league, and it's only growing.
So, Chad, when you mentioned all those things that you can carry with you from an operations standpoint and from a business perspective, when you go knocking on a door, I guess maybe 18 months ago, let's say 18 months ago, you go knocking on a door and you're talking about what's going on there at HCFC compared to knocking on a door now, which in a way is getting you ready for not just the 24 season, but the 25 season. What are these experiences like in the community now where you're knocking on doors and people sit there and have that recognition factor about what's being built when it comes to this franchise?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you have more than a PowerPoint deck, right? And you had a vision, I mean, back then, and it was an amazing vision, amazing collateral. But now we've had people that know nothing about soccer, wouldn't know offsides from icing in hockey, right? But they've been to a match. They said, I get there, it's high energy, 45 minutes, clock never stops, 15-minute halftime, another 45 minutes, there's no ties, go to penalty kicks, high energy, and I'm back home in 2.5 hours. It's an exciting but also efficient entertainment experience.
Yeah, because basically you're staring at something that's the length of your average movie, unless you're talking about something that Scorsese has put, produced or something like that.
Have you been to Scorsese's latest? That's like 3 soccer matches.
2 hours and 50. It's like, okay, we're going to do the extra 30, then we're going to PKs after that, and we're going to go for a while. It'll be goalie on goalie by the time the Scorsese movie's done. But Liam, you mentioned 24, and you mentioned all of the talent that you'd like to sit there and look at, talent coming back. You made some announcements about who is coming back for 24, some names that are vital to the history there of the franchise, and one of them in particular, an Asad Liadi. I know that was an instant drawing card for folks, especially in the Southeast in year one. They knew about Asad Liadi, but you also announced that some folks are coming back for 24.
Yeah, we announced 4 players today. There's not been one of them. Obviously, you score 12 goals, your name's highlighted regularly, and Zod did a good job of that. And then Ollie and Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah wore the captain's armband many times during the season, so obviously recognisable faces who will not only be important off the field, but I think on the field, the professional side players, and then leading on to Fernando Cicerone, who's a young left-footed centre-back out of Haiti who seamlessly came in during the year to play left centre-back. And we're excited to see his growth continue into 24 as he turns only 20 years old with a bunch of professional experience behind him, both here and in Haiti.
All right, so we mentioned 24. And Chad, I want to talk about one particular event that's going to be almost like I guess you can probably say it's a kickoff event when it comes to what's going on in 24. And the blast-off battle is on a bunch of different fronts here. Before I talk to Liam about it from a soccer perspective, can you get into it from the business genesis and the business idea about how something like this came to pass?
So opening Wick's Family Field at Joe Davis, we're going to start in March this year, as opposed to having to be on the road. So we really need that dress rehearsal, if you will. And what's better than a great 4-team exhibition tournament? And one of the things we thought is, can we bring people into the stadium, give them unique soccer experience, teams from 3 different leagues over the course of a weekend, and every single ticket is general admission, right? And so we wanted to make it as accessible and as approachable as possible. So there'll be 2 matches on a Friday, 2 on a Sunday. You can buy a weekend pass for $25. That's 4 soccer matches for $25 and high-level soccer matches.
So, Liam, when it comes to this early learning experience that you'll get, beneficial because of all of the folks that were there in 23, returning in 24, but also getting the chance to integrate those new faces in a format where you're bringing in Chattanooga FC, which gives you an instant rival in their time now in MLS Next Pro, South Georgia Tormenta from USL League One, and then you bring in FC Tulsa from USL Championship. You're coming at it from a bunch of different leagues and a bunch of different levels, and it gives you a good gauge to see where you are, not just there in next pro, but against folks that, might be open cup-ish kind of a thing or something like that. It gives you that good early season gauge when it comes to your talent pool.
Yeah, for sure. We tried to do something similar last year. I think not tournament-wise, but sparring partners, we like to call them. And last year we got to play Birmingham Legion, USL, and other tough tests. So we want to set the players up to get different looks against different teams. And, it really tells you a lot about the players when you do play similar and higher level opposition and different teams who play different ways. So we like to set the preseason up to give the guys a bunch of tests in a bunch of different environments. And I think this tournament will do that for sure. As you said, South Georgia Tormenta won USL League One in 2022. FC Tulsa are, emerging as a top USL championship team. And then Chattanooga FC are obviously coming into the league that we already compete in. So I think it'll be an exciting weekend, and we'll learn a lot about our players in early February to take that forward into league play in March.
All right. So, Chad, we mentioned the blast off here, which then sits there. You look at the calendar, that's February 16th. If my math is correct, that's like 9 weeks away, 9.5, maybe 10 weeks to get everything squared away for this unwrapping and unveiling of everything 2024 when it comes to Huntsville City FC. Everybody says, 10 weeks. It's 10 weeks, but no, it is not. It is like 10 weeks. It's a sprint with a holiday season involved. How much of a challenge is this going to be for this group of yours?
Well, I think last year, succeeding in all of that craziness of, literally the stadium opened 7 weeks into the season. It's like, what do they say? Building the plane while you fly it. That's the cliche, right? And that's what we did. And our team, our front office team, our staff just did an incredible job landing that plane. And now we actually have 10 weeks feels like a lifetime compared to like a week that we had the last year. So this is a luxury. So we're excited to debut new kits and new rocket engines and all the other things that's going to make that guest experience just incredible. We take it really, really, really serious, John. We are Nashville's second team and Huntsville's first team. And so there's responsibility on the soccer side to develop these great players, but also by being this model, we have to deliver a great entertainment experience to our guests here in the Rocket City and throughout North Alabama. And so we're excited to have this longer runway to take off this year.
Newer rocket engines?
Yeah, so we announced that. We actually debuted it at our last home match. NASA, where we are the only professional sports facility in the United States that has an actual decommissioned NASA rocket engine in our concourse that we're going to probably include in the experience overall. And it makes sense. It's authentically Huntsville. We are the Rocket City. So our colleagues in Nashville have a great guitar riff. They're the Music City. We needed to have a rocket engine since we're the Rocket City. So we're gonna do some fun stuff with that.
All right. So you have me intrigued. What are the decibel levels here with that kind of a thing?
You need to come down to our home match and witness it firsthand. It's just a short 3-hour drive. Come on, John.
I see the tease here. I appreciate the marketing. Always on a roll. Another couple of minutes here with Liam Doyle, Director of Soccer Ops from Huntsville City, and Managing Director of Business Ops, Chad Emerson. It's always a great conversation hanging out with these guys and seeing how things are continuing to grow. Liam, we always talk about when you have young children. There's always the 1-year-old. There's the toddler. And then when you're 2 years old, I always talk about the terrible twos. How do you on the field avoid the terrible twos in 2024 with what you and Jack Collison are looking for when it comes to talent pool and results and integration and new faces and all that kind of stuff? How do you avoid the terrible twos? I'm sure the fans want to know this as well.
Yeah, well, as you know, we have an incredible owner and executive staff up in Nashville who back this project to the hilt. So, behind the scenes, there's a lot of work going on. And as I said, they're really preparing us and setting us up for a successful 24. And I think it's a credit to John and Ian and the rest of the staff, how much they're, putting into this project. And I think that's what makes it confident that it will be a successful 24 on and off the field because of the leadership and the backing that we have from those guys. So we're confident we can have a really good year in 24, especially all the learnings on and off the pitch from 23. I think it, more than the terrible twos, I think it makes an exciting second year to, we've had a go. We know what it looks like. We know what it tastes like. And I think we're in a good spot to take it to the next level.
All right. So, Chad, let me ask you this. We always like, when we have these conversations, I always like to ask about the to-do list. We mentioned that, 10 weeks versus, getting everything squared away last season. 10 weeks, everything's cool. What do you think the next thing that you can cross off the to-do list is to get you ready for blast off and for 24?
Yeah, I think right now we call it blue sky planning. It's a term that Disney Imagineers use, and I think other organizations use, is start thinking, what did we do great that we can do even greater next year, and build on those. We always want to, build on, fix challenges, but really build on the successes. So we are on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, just trying to figure out how we can create the most exciting, authentic soccer entertainment experience in all of minor league, Division II or Division III soccer. And we think we've got some plans. So that's what we're working on, is the guest experience.
Okay, so Chad is working on the guest experience. Liam, what are you working on? What's on your Christmas list, sir?
There's a lot of, player contracts, negotiations, a lot of scouting going on. Obviously, it's public that the MLS Combine is this week and the soon after. And, that's a big part of what we do in Huntsville. There's a lot of our U17 academy games going on as well. And some of them players appeared for Huntsville. So it's about just finalising the roster and the staffing for 24 and making sure everyone's prepared to come in January and hit the.
Liam and Chad, as always, we are looking forward to it. It's been great to continue to tell your story as we go. And we cannot wait, because Blast Off is coming up for 2024, both figuratively and literally, in the middle of February. Chad Emerson, Managing Director of Business Ops, Director of Soccer Ops, Liam Doyle for Huntsville City FC. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us for a 2v1 in the Odd Man Rush. You've scored. Go celebrate. We'll catch up with you later.
Thanks, John.